Oak and Olive by James Elroy Flecker, 1884 to 1915. Though I was born a Londoner and bred in Gloucestershire, I walked in Hellas years ago with friends in white attire, and I remember how my soul drank wine as pure as fire. And when I stand by Charing Cross, I can forget to hear the crash of all those smoking wheels when those cold flutes and clear pipe with such fury down the streets, my hands grow moist with fear. And there's a hall in Bloomsbury no more I dare to tread, for all the stone men shout at me and swear they are not dead. And once I touched a broken girl and knew the marble bled. But when I walked in Athens town that swims in dust and sun, Perverse, I think of London then, where massive work is done, with what sweep at Westminster the rayless waters run. I ponder how from Attic seed there grew an English tree, how Byron like his heroes fell, fighting a country free. And Swinburne took from Shelley's lips the kiss of poetry, and while our poets chanted Pan, back to his pipes and power, great Verrill bending at his desk and searching hour on hour, found out old gardens where the wise may pluck a Spartan flower. When I go down the Gloucester lanes, my friends are deaf and blind. Fast as they turn their foolish eye, the Maenads leap behind. And when I hear the fire-winged feet, they only hear the wind. Have I not chased the fluting Pan through Cranham's sober trees? Have I not sat on Painswick Hill with a nymph upon my knees, and she as rosy as the dawn and naked as the breeze? But when I lie in Grecian fields smothered in asphodel, or climb the blue and barren hills, or sing in woods that smell with such hot spices of the south as mariners might sell, then my heart turns where no sun burns to lands of glittering rain, to fields beneath low clouded skies, new widowed of their grain, and autumn leaves like blood and gold that strew a Gloucester lane. Oh, well I know sweet Hellas now, and well I knew it then, when I with starry lads walked out, but for home again. Was I not bred in Gloucestershire, one of the English men? Okay, this is a poem by James Elroy Flecker. Now, Flecker was born in London, but he actually grew up in Gloucestershire, near Cheltenham. His father was the headmaster of Dean Close School in Cheltenham. And he went to Dean Close School, where his father was headmaster, and then he went to Uppingham School. Then he studied at Trinity College, Oxford, and Caius College, Cambridge. He was strongly affected by the aesthetic movement and also by the Parnassian poets. It's a French group from towards the end of the 19th century. He was working in the consular service, and he spent quite a lot of time traveling. Let's see, what's this about? Okay, he is talking about being about Greece and ancient Greece and Gloucestershire, and he in a very funny way he's comparing the two. He's contrasting the classical beauty, but he still is part of England, part of his homeland, part of Gloucestershire, part of England, and it's jumping between the romantic images of ancient Greece and nostalgia and cultural heritage, but he's fascinated by the cultural roots that we have in ancient Greece, and therefore oak and olive, and oak represents the British oak tree, and olive represents the olive tree which grows in Greece. Though I was born a Londoner and bred in Gloucestershire, I walked in Hellas years ago with friends in white attire. So he's born in London and brought up in Gloucestershire, but he feels in another life he walked in Hellas in Greece years ago with his friends wearing these white tunics or these white togas. I remember how my soul drank wine as pure as fire. And he's remembering I think these are the conversations that he's having with these Greek philosophers, and I think this is a metaphor for wine that is as pure as fire, because the wine that he drank with these friends was a beautiful pure wine, but his soul was communing with Aristotle or Plato or Alexander the Great. And when I stand by Charing Cross, I can forget to hear the crash of all those smoking wheels. So, and he's standing in Charing Cross, and suddenly he no longer hears all of the wheels of the vehicles, the smoke, all of the movement, and what he hears when those cold flutes and clear pipe with such fury down the street, my hands grow moist with fear. So suddenly he's not hearing the hubbub of central London of Charing Cross. He's hearing the flutes, the panpipes, and his hands grow wet with fear. He's transported. He's wondering if he's in Charing Cross or if he's in ancient Greece. And there's a hall in Bloomsbury, no more I dare to tread. So, in the past, in his time, the British Museum was in Bloomsbury. This is another district in London. For all the stone men shout at me and swear they are not dead. And once I touched a broken girl and knew that marble bled. So he's in a hall in Bloomsbury with ancient Greek statues. And these statues are shouting at him. They're saying, they're not dead, we are here, we exist. And this is almost frightening for him. He's frightened hearing the sound of the pipes. He's frightened by the Greek statues shouting at him. And once I touched a broken girl. So clearly here's a statue of a girl, and it's broken. In some place it's broken. And I knew that marble bled. And the statue is bleeding. He can see the statue bleeding. And this wonderful image of the red blood coming on this white marble. So he's sure that all of these people are alive. But when I walk in Athens town that swims in dust and sun, perverse I think of London then, where massive work is done, and with what sweep at Westminster the rayless waters run. And then he's saying when he's walking in Athens though, Athens which is full of dust and sun, he suddenly then thinks of London, where they do wonderful things in London. And I think the sweep of the river at Westminster, the rayless waters run. So the water in Westminster, the Thames, is the grey, green, dark colour, and there's no shining, there's no sun in the water at Westminster. So when he's in London, he thinks of he's in Athens, and when he's in Athens, then his mind runs to London. I ponder how from Attic seed there grew an English tree, and he's wondering how from ancient Greece, from Attica, the seeds of Attica, how these gave rise to the English tree, how the seeds of an olive tree could give rise to an oak tree. And he just thinks these two things are so different. How Byron, like his heroes, fell, fighting a country free. Now this is a great reference to Lord Byron. Lord Byron went to fight for Greece, for the liberation of Greece against the Ottoman Empire, and Byron died of fever during the Ottoman Wars. So he's now thinking how Lord Byron, this archetypal Englishman, maybe archetypal, maybe not, fell like the classical heroes. And Swinburne took from Shelley's lips the kiss of poetry, and how Algernon Swinburne, a Victorian poet, how he was animated, how he was influenced by the poetry of Shelley. And it's actually quite ironic in mentioning Shelley, because Flecker, he dies at an early age, and Shelley died at a very early age as well. So there's clearly a link between the two. And while our poets chanted Pan back to his pipes and power, great Verrill bending at his desk and searching hour on hour, found out old gardens where the wise may pluck a Spartan flower. So our poets were talking about Greece, Ode to a Grecian Urn by Shelley, for example. And they're talking about Pan, the god Pan, and they're sending our poets are talking about Pan and his pipes. And then we have great Verrill. Arthur Verrill was a translator of Aeschylus and Euripides. He's a translator of Greek plays, and he's spending hours at his desk searching for hour on hour. And Verrill found old gardens, the gardens of the Spartan world, and he's living in this classical world as well. When I go down the Gloucester lanes, my friends are deaf and blind. Fast as they turn their foolish eyes, the maenads leap behind. And when I hear the fire-winged feet, they only hear the wind. So when I'm walking down the lanes in Gloucester, my friends can't see any of it. My friends can't see this, and they look one way, and the maenads leap behind. The maenads are the followers of Dionysus. They're the women who took part in bacchanalian orgies. The maenads are the followers of Dionysus, of Pan. And when I hear the fire-winged feet, they only hear the wind. Now I think the fire-winged feet, these are the feet, the sandals of Perseus, or the sandals of Mercury. These are a pair of sandals with wings on that mean that Mercury the messenger, or Perseus, can fly. But my friends, when they don't see them, they don't see the maenads, they don't see the sandals of Perseus, they only hear the wind. Have I not chased the fluting Pan through Cranham's sober trees? Okay, so Cranham is a village near Gloucester. So I've chased Pan playing the music through the trees in Cranham. Have I not sat on Painswick Hill with a nymph upon my knees? And Painswick, there is a Roman villa in Painswick. It's in the Cotswolds, in Stroud. And she as rosy as the dawn and naked as the breeze. So he's sitting on Painswick Hill with a naked nymph, as pink as the dawn and as naked and completely naked. But my friends don't see this. They're blind to this. But when I lie in Grecian fields, smothered in asphodel. Okay, asphodel is a plant. It is a plant from, I think it's from the Elysian fields, where the asphodel is where the common people go, who in the afterlife, people who are good. So the Grecian fields covered in asphodel is a plant. It's or climb blue and barren hills, or when I climb the hills, the dry blue hills of Greece, or sing in woods that smell with such hot spices of the south as mariners might sell. So I've been into woods that smell of spices from the south, spices that sailors might bring from India, or from the Coromandel coast, or from Java. Then my heart turns, where no sun burns, to the lands of glittering rain. So he's in Greece and he's climbing the hills and he's in the woods of these beautiful places, and suddenly his heart, it's going back to the land of glittering rain. That's back to London, back to England, to fields beneath low clouded skies, to fields with with low clouds, new widowed of their grain. So they've they were growing probably wheat, and they've had the wheat harvested, and they are empty. And autumn leaves like blood and gold that strew a Gloucester lane. And he's in Gloucestershire again, and he's seeing the autumn leaves with this lovely metaphor that the leaves are the colour of blood and gold, and they're strewn, they're covering a Gloucester lane. So he's part of this old classical Greek world, but he's also British, he's also English. Oh, well I know sweet Hellas now, and well I knew it then. So he's been there, he knows it now, he knows it then. When I with starry lads walked out, but for home again. So he's been with the young men, with the philosophers, with the lads with their heads in the stars. But also he's English. Was I not bred in Gloucestershire, one of the Englishmen? So he's also bred in Gloucestershire. He's also an Englishman. He's a mixture of the two things at the same time. So, Oak and Olive by James Elroy Flecker.